my earnings from Wimbledon, with my earnings in general. I invest in my future, so I save a lot of money.
Aryna Sabalenka skips Wimbledon's second week for a bikini beach escape, sharing sun-soaked vacation moments with her fiancé that fans can't ignore.
I just wanna go, get completely drunk, forget about tennis, and try to get better in a better shape.
While the world's number one reportedly said she simply wanted to disappear and get completely drunk, Eala, just 21 and advancing one round farther at Wimbledon, was making history elsewhere. At that exact moment, she entered Malacanang Palace, receiving a prestigious presidential citation that marked a remarkable national achievement.
Marcos Jr., President of the Republic of the Philippines, presents this citation to Eala.
Eala's career prize money had now crossed a major milestone, with the WTA's official records listing her total earnings at $1,285,330. Two players entered the same Grand Slam. One left for a luxury getaway. The other walked into a presidential palace. And what happened next transformed a tennis achievement into something much bigger, a moment of national identity. Just 3 days before this video, on July 13, 2026, Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. formally presented Eala with a presidential citation at Malacanang Palace. Standing proudly beside her were her parents, Mike and Riza. At almost the same time, the WTA's official player profile reflected another milestone. Eala's career earnings had climbed to $1,285,330. Those two developments landed in the same news cycle. But the palace ceremony became the real story. And the contrast with what the world number one was doing that same week made the entire situation even more dramatic. Aryna Sabalenka had spent much of 2026 publicly demanding greater prize money for players at Grand Slam tournaments. She had walked out of a Roland Garros press conference during a prize money protest, discussed the possibility of a player boycott with Coco Gauff, and even faced questions about whether wearing expensive jewelry while criticizing tournament payouts created a contradiction. Then Wimbledon arrived. Sabalenka lost her opening set against Naomi Osaka 6-2 and eventually fell in 3 sets. Afterward, speaking to reporters, she admitted she had no emotions and simply wanted to go away, get completely drunk, forget the disappointment, and return in better shape. Soon afterward, she headed to Greece. Meanwhile, one round deeper in the same Wimbledon draw, Eala was still fighting on the grass and carrying the hopes of an entire nation. Look at the numbers that built this moment. In the first round, Eala defeated Renata Zarazua 6-1, 6-2. In the second, Maya Jansen took the opening set 6-3, but Eala responded with a stunning turnaround, winning 12 of the next 14 games. Her Wimbledon journey continued, while her career and her country's belief in her reached an entirely new level. Eala had already made history by becoming the first Filipina of the Open era to win a Wimbledon main draw match. But the third round was where the entire tennis world was forced to pay attention. Waiting on the other side was the defending champion and one of the tournament's highest seeds, Iga Swiatek. Many expected experience to take control. Instead, Eala produced one of the biggest performances of her young career. She won the opening set in a dramatic tiebreak before closing out the second, 6-2. This was not a lucky escape. It was a tactical masterclass. After the match, Swiatek openly discussed the difficulty of dealing with Eala's slower serves and the missed returns that followed. That detail matters. The defending champion was not simply blaming a bad day. She was acknowledging how Eala's variety, patience, and decision-making had disrupted her rhythm. That kind of admission from a champion like Swiatek is rare. And while Eala was making history on the grass at SW19, Aryna Sabalenka's Wimbledon story had already taken a completely different direction. After her defeat, the world number one spoke openly about wanting to leave, forget the disappointment, and get herself back into better shape. Soon afterward, vacation photos from Greece featuring Sabalenka and her fiancé began circulating across media coverage. Same Grand Slam. Same week. Two completely different destinations. One player was relaxing at a resort. The other was walking into a presidential palace. But the most important part of Eala's story was not the contrast. It was everything that had come before it. For years, fans were told that Eala was a project. A promising prospect. Someone whose biggest moments were still somewhere in the future. Yet the supporters who watched her grind through difficult matches, stayed awake deep into the night, and followed every score from around the world were never simply waiting for a miracle. They were watching the process. And now the results were appearing everywhere. On the WTA's official records, Eala's career prize money had passed $1.28 million. On July 13, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. stood beside her at Malacanang Palace and formally presented her with a presidential citation, with her parents by her side. That recognition placed her in a very different category of Filipino sporting achievement alongside athletes whose accomplishments had become part of the country's national story. Even the details surrounding the honor drew attention, with fact-checking clarifying the official name of the recognition after inaccurate labels began circulating online. And there was one final detail that made the moment even more powerful. Before the palace ceremony, before the historic Wimbledon run, before the seven-figure career earnings milestone, Sabalenka herself had publicly praised Eala's dedication and work ethic. She recognized the talent early. What she could not have known was that one day, she would be watching the payoff from a beach chair. The final verdict, however, does not belong to any single pundit. Eala's Wimbledon run earned praise from major international outlets and established her as a legitimate member of the world's elite. But those headlines were not the ceiling. They were only the beginning. The ceiling is no longer somewhere in the distance. Eala has already reached a level that goes far beyond tennis. On July 13, 2026, the sitting president of the Philippines stood before a 21-year-old athlete and her parents, with a nation watching, and delivered a message that carried far more weight than a simple congratulation. He reminded Eala that she had never stopped showing the world where she came from. Then he made the meaning even clearer. What she had accomplished had shown the world what a Filipino athlete could represent. That moment placed Eala in extraordinary company. Manny Pacquiao received national recognition after building a legendary career across decades. Hidilyn Diaz earned it after winning Olympic gold. Eala received that same kind of national acknowledgement at just 21 years old, after making history on a tennis court thousands of miles from home. The company surrounding her is no longer limited to tennis players. It is national company. Even the president's own social media message captured the symbolism in a simple phrase: one Eala. That framing matters. Because her Wimbledon run was no longer just about reaching the fourth round or collecting another career milestone. It had become a form of soft power for a country that has never traditionally been associated with Grand Slam tennis. The Philippines does not have the same historic tennis infrastructure as the sport's traditional powers. It does not possess the same deep pipeline of major training academies or decades of Grand Slam development. Yet Eala built her own path. And every dollar of the $1,285,330 listed on the WTA's official records represents a journey that happened outside the traditional tennis power structure. Now, the next chapter is already approaching. Eala is scheduled to begin her North American hardcourt campaign at the Wimbledon City DC Open in Washington, running from July 27 through August 2. Meanwhile, Sabalenka is expected to begin her Cincinnati title defense on August 7. If both players continue advancing through the summer, the possibility of another meeting begins to take shape. The world number 28 against the world number 1. Hard courts instead of grass. And behind them, an entire July of contrasting stories. But do not forget how Eala's Wimbledon campaign actually ended. In the round of 16, she pushed Jasmine Paolini through 3 demanding sets. Eala won the opening set, fought back after falling behind, and ultimately came up short in the decider. Roger Federer was watching from the stands. Afterward, Eala delivered a message that revealed exactly why her future looks so bright. She said the only thing she could control was how she approached difficult moments, and that if she faced them with courage, composure, and intensity, she could walk away without regret. 7 days later, she stood at Malacanang Palace. And at the podium, she delivered the words millions of Filipinos have been waiting to hear from a Grand Slam breakthrough star: "I am proud to be Filipino." Look back at the journey. Zarazua defeated in straight sets. Jansen overcome after losing the opening set. The defending champion Swiatek beaten in a dramatic tiebreak. Federer watching from the stands. Paolini pushing her to the limit. A president presenting a national citation. And on the WTA's own website, a career earnings figure quietly recording the number: $1,285,330. That is not the ending. It is the receipt. The real difference between the world number 1 and the world number 28 this month is not found in the rankings. It is found in what happened after Wimbledon. Aryna Sabalenka chose a beach escape. Eala walked into a presidential palace. And only one of those moments placed a 21-year-old athlete in the same national recognition conversation as Manny Pacquiao and Hidilyn Diaz. Now comes the question that could define the summer. When Eala and Sabalenka finally meet on a hard court, whether in Washington, Cincinnati, or at the US Open, who wins, and how many sets does it take? Make your prediction now, before the draws are even revealed. Because if you get it right early, you can say you saw it coming first. If you have followed Eala from Miami, through Berlin and Birmingham, past the dramatic Wimbledon battles, and watched her career earnings rise past the $1 million mark, then you have witnessed a breakthrough in real time. Subscribe now and lock in your prediction for the Summer Hardcourt Showdown.